While other kids her age were playing in the dirt, she was learning how to clean up blood. Never leave fingerprints at a crime scene. That was the survival skill her father taught her. Who would have thought that a child raised with such an education would grow up to become a brilliant forensic scientist? Recently, one of the forensic scientist's colleagues hadn't shown up to work in quite some time. Her supervisor asked her to check on the colleague at home. Just as she was about to leave, team leader Jung rushed over to find her. It turned out that a twisted killer known as the seamstress had emerged recently. This murderer had a sick obsession with placing long threads inside corpses. Another body had been discovered on the street the night before, and considering it was the seamstress's handiwork, the forensic scientist had to put aside looking for her colleague and focus on the investigation. However, the killer had actually placed a complete finger inside the body parts. Even more disturbing, the thread connected to the finger was tied in a bow. This was the forensic scientist's signature knot, only she tied threads this way. Her heart pounded wildly as she quickly untied the bow, trying to destroy the evidence, but it was too late. Soon, the fingerprint analysis results came back. The victim was actually the colleague who hadn't come to work for several days. Now the entire forensic team was under investigation, especially the forensic scientist who had previously argued with the victim. She became the prime suspect. Her mind was in turmoil. She seemed to already know the seamstress's true identity. Fortunately, the forensic scientist had an alibi for the time of her colleague's death, which temporarily cleared her of suspicion. Team leader Jung couldn't get any leads from her, so he had to pin his hopes on street surveillance footage. By analyzing the first sewing case, team leader Jung deduced that the killer must have driven to the farmland to dump the body. If they could find the suspicious truck, they could find their suspect. He immediately contacted the traffic police, asking them to help investigate the vehicle's owner. Meanwhile, terrifying childhood scenes kept flashing through the forensic scientist's mind. She thought she had completely escaped that demon after growing up, but apparently he was back. The forensic scientist forced herself to calm down and carefully examine the clues from both cases. Suddenly, she remembered that while fingerprints could be washed off, they'd be much harder to remove if they were stuck to plastic bags. She quickly had her subordinate retrieve the shroud from the first sewn female corpse for re-examination. Her subordinate said the shroud had already been checked, and there were no fingerprints on it. But the forensic scientist didn't give up. If there were no prints on the shroud itself, surely there would be some on the tape attached to the cloth. On the other side, team leader Jung and his team quickly apprehended the truck driver. Seeing the driver's intense reaction, they became even more convinced that these two corpses were definitely connected to him. But at that moment, the forensic scientist had already detected crucial fingerprints from the tape. When she saw the test results, she froze completely. These fingerprints confirmed her most horrifying suspicion. The seamstress was really her father.